All right, welcome back to Shooting It Straight again. Today we're going to let's take a look at probably one of the most frequent questions that people ask me, and a lot of them are a lot of my friends are new gun owners, I guess you could say, people that are really not very familiar with guns. So sometimes they ask me some questions, and I thought I'd pass it on to you. Now, most of you probably already know this. There's hundreds and hundreds of videos out there on this, but I'll just do my deal anyway. All right. The question most people ask me is, should I modify my pistol or not? Or, is it okay to modify my pistol, right? Now, there seems to be kind of two camps on this subject. You got the one camp that says, yeah, go for it, no problem. And then you got the other camp that says, no, absolutely not, don't ever do that. Well, my response has always been, and it still is today, listen, it's fine if you want to do some modifications on your gun, that's fine, I think, but only to a certain extent, and do the modifications that you can justify the need for having. Otherwise, you should probably leave it alone. There's reasons why I say this, and I stand by that. Now, of course, it is your gun, and you can do with it whatever you want to do with it. But modification in this context means to change something from its original design, feature, or component to a different one, right? Now that could simply entail changing out the factory sights, all right? Or it could entail taking a stock pistol, one you buy at the store as is, brand new from the factory, nothing enhanced on it, and turning it into a completely full-blown race gun. I've seen that too, and you can do that. And they work very well, but it's extraordinarily expensive. Now, personally, I don't see anything wrong at all with certain slight modifications. For example, changing out those plastic or polymer Glock sights that you get from the factory, which are not that bad, they're useful, but they're really not rugged. So I always trade mine out for the factory steel sights instead. They're the same sights, same setup, sight picture and all, but they're steel instead of polymer. They are much more rugged and robust. And, through my experience, I know for a fact that these sights are better. They will last longer, all right? Or it could be something like changing out minor things, all right, such as the slide stop lever. I changed the factory one out, the OEM factory one out, for this enhanced one or extended one, and that is also made by Glock because it helps me, it assists me in functioning the gun, making the gun more easy for me to function. But that's just me. Not everybody's going to need that. Little things like that. I added the Vickers Tango Down magazine release because I release my magazines on my guns in a different way than most other people do. And that really makes a big difference. Okay, those changes like that enhance the ability to control and use the pistol, while at the same time do not change or otherwise interfere with the proper function or safety of the pistol. Now, my XD45 here, the only changes I have ever done to this one is just put the, what the hell are these grips called? The wraparound grip tape like thing. Talon. Yeah, the Talon grips on here for better grip, because that grip is like shit. Okay, it's very, you don't even know it's there. It's very slippery. And when you're sweating or your hand is wet or bloody, you're not going to be able to hold on to that big bore like that. You got to have something grippy on there. the texture on this Glock, because it's a Gen 4, that's just right. There's no enhancements I need on there. You may need some, and that's cool, because it's not going to hurt anything if you do it. It's not going to change anything really. It's just going to enhance your ability to use it. Those types of things are okay. You know, the goal of any modification should be to improve the handling ability of your pistol without the risk of altering the ability of the pistol to function as originally designed. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, listen, as tempting as it may be, and I know that it is tempting because I've been there as well. I wasn't always an old man. You must resist the urge to change out any internal factory components. Now, I know it's not easy to resist that when you see all of your friends and all these guys on YouTube, you know, removing factory triggers, replacing factory strikers with titanium strikers, putting in laser trigger or lighter trigger springs, heavier magazine springs, and all this bunch of crap. Look, you're begging for trouble when you do these things. Not to mention that doing these things will most likely void your warranty when things do go wrong. And they eventually will go wrong. Aside from that, you know, look, you're just wasting your money. It's completely unnecessary. Your pistol was engineered and designed to use specific springs. It has components of a specific weight to obtain specific velocities, such as the timing of the slide, things of that nature. And the components are designed for specific torques and tensions, all for that particular model and caliber. Don't change any of those things. All right? Changing out any of these factory internal parts for aftermarket parts can lead to malfunctions. It can void your warranty or possibly even damage your pistol. Now, I know of a very recent case where the guy changed out his factory Glock trigger system for one of those custom drop-in trigger systems. And it seemed fine until he dropped the gun and discovered that by putting that new factory drop-in safety feature in there, or that new trigger in there, it eliminated the safety feature that was supposed to be there. So he didn't have the drop safety anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, are you willing to risk that? Listen, play it smart and play it safe. If for some reason you need to replace a component in your pistol, perhaps it broke or you lost that little spring, because those things happen, simply replace it with an OEM factory part. You don't need a titanium this or an extra power that, because they perform no better than the factory part. Just replace it with a factory part that the pistol was originally engineered and designed to use. Look, you know, a gun part is like your girlfriend, okay? If you keep taking the cheap way out, you'll be left with something that might not function when you want it to. You get me? All right, now, these cigarettes go fast. All right, now, speaking of springs, let's very quickly touch on that. And I mean very quickly because, you know, there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding concerning this aspect. Now, I've already put a video out on the topic of springs, but I'll quickly hit some of those highlights again right here because it's important. Springs are rarely replaced because they wear out. Your recoil spring will last for more than the 5,000 rounds that it's rated for. Your magazine springs will work fine for many years to come. The single biggest reason why springs fail or need to be replaced is due to the owner manipulation factor. Now, I spoke of that in that other video, and yes, I'll be glad to explain it here quickly. It means that somebody intentionally stretched out the spring, like the magazine spring, in an attempt to increase its tension. Thus, when you do that, you're ruining the specified calibration of that spring. Or they clipped off a coil or two, again, ruining that calibration. Or somehow they bent or kinked the spring. A certified armorer, such as myself, rarely replaces a spring for any other reason than those. Springs very rarely wear out or lose their compression unless they're heavily used, of course. And of course there is an exception. Springs that have not been tempered to correct specifications could indeed lose significant tension quickly. Where triggers are concerned, well, I prefer to stay far away from dicking around with them. I'm a concealed carrier, which means I'm a combat shooter, okay? I'm not a target shooter. For combat or self-defense shooting, and they're the same things, there is absolutely no need to have a nice, crisp 3 or 4 pound trigger pull. In fact, it can be dangerous. There's no need to have a smooth as butter trigger pull or to hear and feel any type of trigger reset. Trust me, when you're in a deadly fight for your life, how your trigger feels is the last freaking thing you'll be thinking about. All right? Believe me. So now, so if you do modify your factory trigger for whatever reason, and there are some that can be pretty damn heavy, I understand that, or you replace it with a drop-in trigger kit, just be prepared to give the courts a good reason as to why you chose to do so if you're ever involved in a shooting, especially an accidental shooting, because trust me, that will be brought up. They will make an issue of that. And finally, never alter any factory safety feature at all for any reason. All right, aside from definitely voiding your warranty, you could even become subjected to criminal action depending on the laws in your state. As for me personally, yeah, I do slightly modify my firearms, but the modifications on my pistols, as I just showed you, are simply done to enhance the ability for me to control them and use them. That usually consists of things like grip enhancement, internal controls access so I can get to them better and use them better, better or more robust steel sights, and things of that nature. Now you may have noticed that I rounded off the squared trigger guards on the Glock and on my XD. I do that for a reason because, and yes, there's a reason why I do it. I don't do anything other than why I need it. I can justify everything that I do. And it's because that pointed hook right there will get caught on my belly band type holster. And because of my medical condition, a belly band type holster is the only way I can carry concealed. That's the only way. So I have to have that. And those things will eat those things up. So I found that by rounding this off, it doesn't chew up the belly band where the gun goes in. So that solved that problem. But I'm just old school. I've got no interest in fancy slide cuts, custom triggers, red dot optics, lasers, titanium components, and stuff like that. I've had excellent luck for over 40 years now by keeping things simple. Thank you very much. So, in the end, I think that slight modifications to an EDC are fine, as long as it doesn't alter the safety features it came with, as long as the modifications aren't silly add-on gadgets, such as lasers, red dots, lightning cuts, D-cell flashlights bolted onto the dust cover, and nonsense like that. Things that actually assist in better control and use of the gun should be your focus, not the tactical Timmy shit. Now, for what it's worth, I can also heavily discourage changing out any internal components for aftermarket parts, such as springs, firing pins, trigger assemblies, and so forth. Keep it simple, keep it reasonable, and keep it safe, and you'll never have a problem. All right? So, listen, keep watching for a soon-to-be-published channel update video that I hope to put out in the next few days, where we're going to be looking at where we've been and where we're going as YouTube's smallest gun channel. And perhaps we'll discuss a couple of new ideas. I think it's going to be interesting. I think you'd want to watch that one. All right, so thanks for watching this one. I'm Antonius, and I'm just shooting it straight. Ciao.